morning, everyone. Okay, we're very happy to be here today to introduce to you the director, the producer, and the composer of the opening film of the Paris Film Festival 24, HOU Zuxin, director of the Italian Recipe, Cristiano BORTONE, the producer and the idea behind it, and Santi, the composer of the score. Okay, so, and I think we should have Maria Ruggieri on somewhere. There, okay. Hi, Maria. And then we have LIU Xun, the male protagonist of the film. And I don't know who is she. Oh, Fan Zhang, the Chinese producer of the film. Okay, hi guys. Okay, so let's start. Okay, Zuxin, I wanted to congratulate you for a very enjoyable film. I hope the audience reaction showed to you yesterday how much it was appreciated. It's really enjoyable. And what I have to say, what impressed me most is that it is clear that it's a very successful team effort, the film, from the stage of script writing to the execution. At least this is the impression I got. So I wanted to understand how this project came about. And actually, I thought I should ask Cristiano first, how was the idea of the film coming to exist?
3, 2, 1. Test. Okay, so yeah, the film was, I speak in English, yeah? Yeah. So the film started from an original project written by the Italian director, writer-director Alberto Simone, and then, which was an original script, but still with the intention of making a film with China. And then we attached Zuxin, and then when she was involved and she liked the project, she was involved, we said, okay, this story needs to be completely rewritten because, of course, we want to make a movie for the Chinese audience. That's the main target of the movie. And then we always say, if you want to talk to a Chinese public, you have to fulfill somehow their imagination, their taste, their world. And that is how Zuxin started working on the script and developed it into what it is today.
So, but how did you meet each other? Why Zuxin?
Well, in China, right now, there is a big boom of new talents, and the films are very, very successful. So, in the beginning, we reflected on who would be the best director for this movie, and it's not so easy to find directors now. And also, most of them, I always thought, are not really mature, because they are just newcomers into the business. So I was looking for somebody who could be at the same time fresh, new, talented, with some kind of international understanding. So we looked for some of the most promising young names. And then eventually we met Zuxin, and we thought she would. I remember the first meeting of our co-producer with Zuxin. You don't know this part. He sent me a message, and normally this man, Mr. Jia, is very, very controlled and very, very serious and very professor, very sort of that kind of thing. And then he left me a message saying, "Yeah, I met this new young director, Miss Ho, and she's really something, she's really fun." And I could hear from the way he was describing this video. And then I told him, "Alex, come on. You are quite a grown-up man, to fall in love for, such a young..." She's so fascinating. She's so charming. She's so smart. She's so witty, So I could see immediately from such a serious man that he was really... Yes. No, truly, I was a professor in Harvard. But I was really, really impressed. I'm like, okay, well, if this is the reaction, that means that we really have something here.
But I was interested.
I was right. I mean, in the end, I was right. I mean, Zuxin is really a personality.
I was interested to understand how did you do the script writing? Because you were 4 script writers, right? 2 in Italy and 2 in China. Is that correct? How was it, Zuxin? Tell us the script writing process.
Hello?
Maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe I can answer that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think screenwriting is a very peculiar process always. It's very difficult to judge what is the contribution of what. Let's say the original story was from Alberto, and then when we met Zuxin, there was already another writer, a Chinese writer attached, which is called HOU Zuxin, and the two of them worked together a little bit. And HOU Zuxin came out with some concept of how this, because that's the beginning. A story needs to start from a concept. But then eventually, I thought, in the process, I thought that Zuxin had more understanding of also comedy and plot. So eventually, she wrote the substantial amount of what the script is today, let's say. And then eventually I contributed a little bit with her, to edit it, to, make the Italian parts, more believable, and to just help her, write, because after all, it's her first feature film. So it's a teamwork, basically. Right. That's how the scripts are normally. But she's basically, I would say, responsible for 90% of the script.
Yeah, okay. Now, because one thing which impressed me in the film is that it plays up the prejudice, the ideas that Italian people have about Chinese people and vice versa, all the common things, but it does it in a way which is very not, it's very easy to accept, it plays in a nice way and really bridging the gap rather than separating people, So I thought that was very smart, the way it was built. So, okay, so can you tell us a bit about you, Zuxin? Yes,
about
your
me?
background, yes.
Since when I was in childhood?
No, no, because I know you studied in Hong Kong, then in the US. So
right.
What did you bring of that experience into this film?
Okay, so I was born in Beijing, grown up there, and I went to Hong Kong for university. I studied sociology and journalist, and but I always want to be a director since when I was little kids. I always gathering around the students, like my friends, little friends, and then ask them to act, like making stories, like them to do this. And I remember there's one of my father's friends came to home. I always force the audience to sit there and watching us to perform. Yeah, I'm a pretty control freak, I'm a little bit. So, and then one of the uncle, I would say, he told me, adults do the same thing. And we call this person director. And I was like, no matter what it is, I want to do this, So I think it's mostly come from my control freak personality. So, and then I always have this in my mind. I like to tell stories. I like to make people together and make something up. And I always like that. So, and I go to university in Hong Kong. Why? Is because I want to be a director and then act around. So do I need to study being a director in my college time, And then I asked around. Some people give me some great advice. They said, do you want to write yourself? If you want to write yourself, maybe in your undergrad, you can go to learn sociology, anthropology, and literature or something. Maybe it's not have to be related to film, but they may help you to understand the world, understand people more, and then maybe that will help you to write script later. So back then I was in high school. I think that's really wise. So I tell my parents, maybe I want to study sociology in order to become a filmmaker. So that's very straightforward. I'm a very straightforward person, And so I went to Hong Kong because Hong Kong, Chinese University of Hong Kong, they have the best sociology department in China, in Asia, I will say. There are a lot of great professors. So I went there to study, and I realized that really helped me to write, because they have different perspective of what human is or what society running, So that helped me a lot. So my first script actually is written when I was in college. And then after that, I decided to, I have to study film. So I choose to go to USC in Los Angeles to study film. And I realized, my culture background merged together because I'm a Beijing girl, China, like mainland China, Beijing girl, and then went to Hong Kong, and another completely different society, and then study for 4 years, and then go to LA, it's an American like background, and then stay there for 4 years. And so I feels like all this different culture background merged together. And interestingly, my first feature shoot in Europe. So it's kind of like everywhere, like combined together. I think each place actually distribute to who I am right now. And at the same time, I always feel like outsider. I think that helps for the character as well. Because when I was in Beijing, I'm a Beijinger, right? Everybody like is so familiar with this is my place. And then I go to Hong Kong, people will refer to me like, that's the Beijing girl from mainland. And then when I was in the US, people say, that's the Chinese girl, from China. And then I go to Europe, everybody said, so you are the Beijing girl studying in Hong Kong and graduating US, and you come here to shoot a film. so that's very interesting. Like, I like that cooperation. I like all this sparkling coming from different culture background. I think that helped me a lot to work on set because I'm not thinking it's risk or I'm afraid of it. I'm used to it, and I'm very happy to facing all the, you can see it's conflict, but at the same where the challenge is very beautiful, how we come up with new ideas, right?
Were there a lot of awkward moments during the production?
Awkward moments?
Awkward, like misunderstandings?
Yeah, the one thing I think it's interesting is because the union hour, working hour, yeah, they have 8 hours working in Italy, including the traffic, the loading time. So for us, maybe effective working hour is less than 7 hours. So for me, it's not really familiar with that because I shooting commercials, I shooting short films back in China. We have like 14 hours a day. 14 hours to 16 hours per day working. So for me, like in Italy, it's like half of the day and then we're done. I was like, where's the other half? So that's, for me, is the first struggling. I feels like I always want more time. But I think Chris have a good point. Like said, you can always, finish no matter, if I give you 24 hours, you will satisfied. Yeah, so filmmakers always want us to have more money, have more time, right? So I managed to learn, how to make things shorter and more effective. And also, this is one, I think, the major problems for me. Yeah, but I also learn from that. Okay. Yeah.
So another thing I wanted to ask you, I know that you have another passion, which is music.
Music, yes. Yes.
You are a musician yourself.
Yes.
A singer.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about that, and then how did you then come into Santi? How did you cooperate?
Okay.
When it came to
the music
for the film?
Because my father is a rocker. My father is the first generation Chinese rocker. So that's why actually my first work, go to the film festival or something, called My Dad's a Rocker. Yeah. That's a documentary about first generation of Chinese rocker. And I grown up surrounding by musicians. They're all like top Chinese rockers. So, and I learned piano since when I was young, and but my father never really knew I can sing, but I like it. So when I was in college, I start my own band, and I start to write my own song, and then I joined the Chinese version of The Voice. Yeah, so I start to know more musicians, young musicians, and I like rock and roll and also the pop song together. So I start writing my own music, and I like it a lot. I feel like when I write music, it's more like natural. I sing as well. And so for me, I think it's a perfect project as my first feature because we want to make the music a really special role in the whole film, that adding the romantic feelings, adding the Italian flavors, make this film have a special tone. So then Santi's come on the picture, and I know he's really talented, and the first time we met together, he's also a rocker himself, right? A diehard rocker. And he's...
I saw you singing and playing in the film.
Yes.
One scene in which you are there.
Yes,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah. Not awkward at all. Right? and yeah, and we first met, and and he showed me some of his work. He's amazing, and actually, he's great on stage. So he is not only a musician, but at the same time, he's a performer himself. And we start to collaborate because in the film we have 3 songs we wrote together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which ones? The ones in Chinese. The Chinese song.
Yeah.
Oh,
3
so
songs
you wrote
together.
the music and you wrote the text. No.
The music we shared together. Yeah. And we just back and forth sent melodies, and then I will sing and then change the melodies, and then back to him. He will change the arrangement of the music, back and forth. And I said we have a very special relationship, and because we have the time difference, right? We are gonna have this meeting in his time 2:30. I will be like 9:30, and we have this Skype call. We see each other and updates our music. And I will sing in front of a camera. I said, "Oh, what do you think about that?" And he was like, "Oh, I like it. Let's do this. Let's do that." So it's very, very beautiful. I think we are like dating. Like for it is very romantic. And then because I'm very into music and I know what I want very specifically, so I will give him some I know I'm annoying, but sometimes I will say, "Santi, I don't like particular these notes. Can we change it to another instrument, or can we just make it a little bit earlier or back?" It's also very specific. And then because both I'm not speaking Italian, he's not speaking in Chinese, we're speaking English. And sometimes, I'm so tired, 9:30 to maybe 1 o'clock. I start to speak something, I have no idea what I'm talking about. And sometimes he says something, I was like, "Santi, what do you mean? Just speak Italian to me, maybe I can understand more." Sometimes we're struggling for our language barrier, and then but it's beautiful, right? So tell them how much you love me.
Santi, tell us from your point of view, how was this experience?
The view is exactly the same of Zuxin. We started to cooperate at the beginning, write the song together, and our first meeting was in Rome. And we met in a studio in Rome, and we started writing the song together. Me with guitar, you remember? It's really, really, really fantastic, because music is a universal language. So our souls met each other instantly. So it has been really fantastic. And when she was in Beijing, I sent some demos before also the set begin, okay? Because the songs have to be ready before the movie, okay? So I sent some demos initially at the beginning in not true English, okay, language, just the melody to brought so the words in Chinese. But then I try also to emulate Chinese language. So I sent there some song demos with the sound like Chinese, okay, sung by me, okay. But it has been really very, very funny. I think that we have
Santi, you can try. Maybe let us.
No, no. Something like that. That's me.
Doesn't make sense at all. I don't know what you're doing.
It's really very funny. So I think it's been a really fantastic experience, because exchange is between 2 different cultures, 2 different countries, is joys of life. Okay, it's a really joys of life. It's a really important part of life, and this festival represents just this important thing. Yesterday at dinner, a lot of people from different countries, different cultures together to share important moments of connection. So really fantastic, and fantastic work with Zuxin.
Yes.
Maybe we should add that the music now, with the release of the film in China, will be promoted by our partner Kugo, which is a music streaming service in China, as music itself, which I think is also fantastic, especially the last song where some of you, if you heard the final credits, Zuxin is singing along with the,
I see, okay.
with the
I
singer.
wanted to
So
ask,
it's really nice.
I wanted to ask LIU Xun actually about his experience in the film, because he sings a lot of the songs. So how do we do this? Maria, can you hear us?
Yes.
Right.
But
okay.
I think there is also an interpreter next to him. Yes.
Hello. Hello. So we wanted to know about his experience and the singing in the film.
这是我第一次在电影里唱歌吧。然后，当时导演发给我 demo 在北京，然后那会儿就天天练。去意大利也是第一次进录音棚录歌，就觉得以前觉得自己唱的还行，但突然间发现跑调跑得特别厉害。
Okay. Should we get the translation now?
心怡翻译。
Okay. I will translate it. Okay.
Okay. So what Liu Xun says, like, he received the demo before go to the Italy in Beijing, the version I sent to him, and he start practice. And then when he come to Italy, it's the first time he go to the studio to recording his voice. Before everything, he think he's a good singer. But then when he really go to the studio, he finally, in the first time in his life, he realized he's out of tone.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, anyhow, I guess both him had to sing when he doesn't normally sing, and Huang Yao had to speak in Italian when she. So how was that? Did she learn easy Italian?
I think that both of them did a good job. You know, they are trying to go out of their comfort zone. You know, so for Liu Xun, he's really trying hard. You know, for example, the song have some high notes. Liu Xun will be there like, it's like, thank you so much, do it. Yeah, so like, yeah, thank you. And then Huang Yao have to learn Italian.
Yes.
And for the shorter sentence, it's okay. But sometimes I have longer version. And we tried once, like Chris have an air plug in her air.
Yeah.
And then like teaching her sentence by sentence, like she's gonna be acting in front of the camera, and he actually is telling her the Italian version in her air. So that kind of work, and we have Italian language coach on set. So when we call, and she will be there and coaching her words by words to make it more like pronunciation more correctly. Yeah. So I think, I also when I was writing the script, I realized that I cannot put too much work for the actors. They will be, you know, it doesn't make sense for her to speak so many Italians. So when I write, I will say, is there have to be Italian? Then they have to be Italian. Is there anything he can cheat in Chinese? We just go to Chinese, right?
Of course, yeah. Maria, would you like to ask any question from there?
Oh yes, there is. I mean, a very interesting. The subject that we know, of course, because you have the chance to watch already the film yesterday. So I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But I mean, what is for me very interesting is that the story that it is a romance, of course. I mean, is young people challenged by the new possible, I mean, difficulties in their daily life. But what is interesting also for me is that from both sides, I mean, whichever was the Italians or the Chinese side, I mean, there was a very interesting point of view on this concept of success. So I would like to, I mean, ask the directors, I mean, the director about, I mean, her point of view on this.
Thank you for the question. And I think it's because this film is a romantic comedy. You know, we want people to come here and enjoy their, you know, short, like 94 minutes, and then when they leave with a lighting, happy, romantic feeling. So we're not making some like serious film, you know, put a lot of values and thought inside. But saying that is my first feature, you know, as my sociology background or anything else, I try to put my values inside in a not annoying way, you know. So and we talk about when we really trying to deliver the message, and I always thinking about, you know, because I also have the experience to have musicians and artists around my life since I'm used to be surrounded by them. And they're, you know, rockers. They're really like doing what they want to do. You know, don't give a shit of other people's, And then I joined this reality show. That's funny. I joined The Voice. So actually, I have this experience to see really, really talented people and going this circle into this reality show and into this, branding, business, all this kind of industry. And I literally feeling some of their talents they wasted. Because they have to follow the so-called rules by the agent, and they want to make money. At the same time, they are losing their voice, even though they're super talented. So I cannot blame them, because I know them in person. They have their own goal, they have their own values, they have their dreams. But in order to so-called be heard, they have to sacrifice. And sometimes you don't know the degree or the balance. I saw so many great artists, so many great talents that they're struggling. And it's hard to judge, So I'm thinking to put that experience into this film. So that's why Liu Xun, the character, he actually struggling the same thing. He wanted to find his own voice, but by many years leading by the market, by the agent, he kind of lost. He said, okay, success means I have to be, when I take picture, I have to stay in the center. Success means the poster, my picture will be the biggest. Successful means I have earn more money and people will talk about me the most online. Yeah, so that's what he's like been brainwashed. And after meeting this girl in another totally complete different country for this one night, he feels like, okay, maybe that's not what I really believed. So I think that's, and then later on he find his own voice. And if you define that as a success, I think it's to be truly to yourself and then never forget why you're doing this at the very beginning. For example, why I'm doing film, right? I want this film to be successful, of course, making money for him, and make everybody happy and have the second chance to make another film. But I will always remember I'm that sociology girl, surrounded by rockers. And then someday I will seriously make something about I truly believe and forgot about all these rules or something like helpfully in the future. So I just always find this balance, right?
Okay, so the happy ending of the film is dictated by the formula, because a romantic comedy is supposed to finish in a happy way, or because you really want to give a message that it is possible to follow your dreams. And
of course, I believe that. I'm a positive person, right? And I think that works. And I think that proves that some people can success in that way. I've seen that a lot right now. And and of course, I want people to be happy or don't if they don't really end up together and people will feel all the things, oh, so romantic, happy, and then they're not together. They come out of the theater and will test me, say, you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But still, I believe that. Yeah.
No, but also in the end of the movie, that's somebody said yesterday. It was interesting that it doesn't go directly into the completely the cliche of the genre, because for example, Peng, the protagonist, he finds his own way, his own self, but at the end of the movie is not so famous. So he also gives up. Yeah, he sacrifices something in order to do something that makes him feel better, which means in order to be happy, you don't necessarily need to win to earn 1 gazillion amount of money and be on the cover, everything. You just do what you would like to do. That's a beautiful message,
Yeah, sure. Because someone was commenting yesterday, perhaps it should have ended when she says, we belong to two different worlds. You better go to your... Because that would have been more realistic. In a way, 90% of the stories would end up like that, while this one doesn't. But anyhow, there is a message there. Okay.
But it's great. If we ended like that, we would probably be in competition in Cannes.
Yeah.
But now we are happy to be in Far East Film Festival.
Great. Okay, so that brings me to what is the future for this film in terms of release, and what are your next projects? Go ahead.
I think we should ask who knows better than me, which is ZHANG Fan in
ZHANG Fan.
Beijing.
Yes, please.
By the way, I have to say that whenever you make a co-production, there is two sides to the coin, right? It's a very making movies is always very... Life is difficult. Then making movies is even more difficult. Making co-production is like the extreme difficulty. And this kind of co-production would never exist and never be completed if there is not two sides to the effort. So I have to say that ZHANG Fan, which is my right hand, my partner, my beloved other side of the coin, she was really the catalyst for all this wonderful experience to happen from the Chinese side. And now she's the one that is following the whole Chinese release. So I mean, maybe can be answered better.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Hello, hi everyone. It's such a great honor to be here, actually online. But it's really just as what yesterday Huang Yao might told you. It's really a pity that we couldn't travel to Udine to enjoy this glorious moment with all of you over there. And actually, I kept receiving all kinds of videos from last night, and people, sending me those claps, and I saw that the audiences were very happy about the film. But unfortunately, the thing is, actually, the film was set to be released in April on April 15th, which was probably 1 week ago. But unfortunately, because there's a new wave of COVID happening in China right now, so we decided to wait a little bit longer, maybe until not at this moment yet 100% sure, but definitely wait a little bit until probably the summer for the release of such a beautiful romantic comedy film. That's probably going to be the plan.
For the Italian side, we are waiting for China to release first, but then there is the intention to do, of course, some kind of release in Italy as well, because I think, especially after the reaction last night, I can see also the Italian audience could possibly feel, curious, and some articles are also proud, of. Yeah, that's something I didn't consider, but I mean, maybe there is a little curiosity, so we may think of doing a little tour, a release theatrical tour in Italy, and then for sure on the global market we will try to place the film on a streamer, because this is also another topic nowadays. Streamers are opening up to Chinese content globally. We see big Chinese commercial movies on Netflix, on other platforms, Paramount and so on.
Right.
So that's what we're going to try to do.
Right. And you, Zuxin, what is your next project? Do you have already another project to work on?
Yeah, there's another project, and I'm actually writing a novel right now. And because I want to write a script, but then when I start writing it, I feel like I have so much to say. And what about just writing a novel, and then we can develop into a film and also maybe a series. So I'm not sure. So when I'm writing it for half a year already, and I like it. So I think that's what I'm working on right now mostly. And there are some other films they're approaching me, but I'm not sure how much I want to involve. Am I going to be the writer director? I'm going to be the director only, because for this project, when I start writing this project, I just devote my life into it. I spend so much time, I spend so much energy. My back hurts. I go to the doctor to see, because I'm writing there like 9 hours a day, so I was like, oh my God, I won't want to do it again. But so after doing this, I like it. And so I'm thinking, but next time when I really commit to a project, I have to make sure I want to put all my heart into it for amount of time. Yeah, so for the film selection, I'm really careful now. But the other things, I'm still working on my own novel. I'm happy about it to see how I can finish it. Because now I think pandemics are horrible right now, but at the same time, it gives us some break, to stop for a while and then to know what we really want to do. So under this situation, I have more time to really focus on my writing.
Right.
Yeah.
But are you thinking about another romantic comedy, or you want to change genre?
For me, this one, the novel I'm writing, is not a romantic comedy. It's a more like social related issue. And but the interesting thing is the people who find me and want to invite me to be the director, maybe half of it is romantic comedy, because sometimes they heard about this. Yeah, of course they want to, you have this experience already. Yeah, so I'm not against it. I think romantic comedy can be also very cool, interesting to make, but at the same time, I'm open to other genres. I want to try as much as possible. Like for me, I'm also directing a lot of commercials. Now, in China, a lot of the commercials is short films, maybe like 15 minutes or like 10 minutes short films, but that's commercial. Yeah, this is very cool. And actually, the so-called clients, they don't mind if you don't put the commercials and messages inside. They just want to have a short films to make the brand look cool, look trendy or something. So a lot of people come to me for that. That's interesting thing is I can try different genre, for short films, So if they come to me as a director, I have a bargain power. I say, okay, if you want me to be a director, how about we make a sci-fi? And then they will say, okay, if you come up with a good story, we can do this.
Super budgets, I guess, for this short film.
Yes. So I try like sci-fi, I try like a comedy as well, and I try some like a series, thrillers. So I try different things for short films. So I think that's also interesting. While I'm writing my novel, I can have chance to try different genres, or maybe just try one scene. Maybe that scene will be happening in my future films. So I'll take advantage of that. Yeah.
What about you, Santi? What is your next?
Well, my last and next project is a series produced by Amazon Prime Video original that will be released on the next week on 20th April. It's called Bang Bang Baby. It's a very nice project. It's a crime located between Milan and Calabria. Placed in the 80s, so from the
Santi, we don't understand what you say. You have to put.
So, okay, is a TV series produced by Amazon Prime Video. Is an original Amazon project for worldwide, and will be released the next week on 20th April. Is a crime project, also grotesque. It's a very particular project. Located between Milan and Calabria, and it's a very nice, very nice project. And there's also a couple of movies that I will close this couple of projects on May, and then I don't know exactly in summer because I want to stop also to have more energy for the next projects.
Yeah, I wanted to ask also LIU Xun, what is his next project?
下一个计划，好像最近也没有什么要上的东西吧，因为疫情，然后之前拍的好多东西在国内都上不了，然后也是因为疫情，所以现在好多工作没有办法顺利进行。
Okay, because of the pandemic, a lot of things they cannot release. But he's done a lot of other projects, but now they're all holding to find a better time period to release. Yeah.
It's not easy now. Listen, any questions from the audience here? Yep, go ahead.
Hi, congratulations on the premiere, and I have a question for the producer, and I'm particularly curious about this co-production, how this collaboration happened, and when you firstly saw this script, what makes you think about you want to help this happen, and what do you expect from the international distribution? Like, do you expect this also gonna reach out to a lot of Italian or European audience, or you only mainly target on the Chinese market? Thanks.
Okay, so first, I think it's 3 questions, right? So one is what I found interesting in the beginning, right? So, well, first of all, I'm in the last 8-10 years, I've been very, very involved into Sino-European co-productions at various collaboration at various level, both as a producer, as a director, as a managing director of this association called Bridging the Dragon, which is a platform that supports Sino-European collaboration. So many projects came to me in different capacities. And I guess the first thing that caught my attention was because this project was presented into one of the Bridging the Dragon project labs a few years ago, and the Chinese public of producers in this event all liked it very much. And that made me very surprised, because romantic comedy, we know, it's not the most successful and most easy genre in China. I mean, there is a lot of yeah. So I was very surprised, but then the Chinese were so enthusiastic at that time, and then I was like, okay, well, then who am I to challenge that? If my colleagues are excited about making a heartwarming Chinese romantic film set in Italy, that's a great opportunity for me, because I'm Italian. I'm an Italian producer, so I see this I'm a maker. I always picture myself as a little child on the beach, like building a sandcastle. Maybe it's difficult. Maybe the waves will come and destroy the castle, but nevertheless, the fun of making it is still there, right? It's really it makes us alive. So that's how I started to think of that, and and of course in China everybody loves Roman holidays, so this seemed to me quite an interesting way of rebooting this classic movie. That's how the journey started, and I have to say that this is very important to keep in mind. But the film would never be as successful as it is. It would never be suitable for Chinese audience if the Chinese director was not involved. This is a very big lesson for all the Europeans who want to make movies in China. If you want to talk to Chinese public, you need to have somebody who speaks the same, not language in terms of language, but language in terms of human language. You know what I mean? Like it's like if a Chinese would like to make an Italian comedy, that would not make any sense. You know what I mean? No, because sometimes the Europeans think, okay, I can direct this movie, but maybe I can find a European writer. No, that's not going to happen. Okay, that's just not going to happen. So I have to say that if the film is successful from this point of view, it's because of Zuxin's intervention at every level since the beginning, the script, the characters. Then, of course, as I said before, because it's a film that matches two worlds, it's also a teamwork, and movies are a teamwork. Movies are just not commercial movies. Popular movies are a teamwork. If you make an art house movie, then maybe it's your own vision. You can just do whatever you want. It's anything crazy happens, it's just your movie, and that's fine. But for a popular film that tries to reach an audience, it's a teamwork, and that's another thing we forget all the time, unfortunately. Americans are very smart in doing that. The film is made by a team where everybody puts their special skill, whatever that is. There is a person who does good coffee, great. Because if the coffee is bad, the movie is bad. Maybe the actor is upset, the coffee was bad, and then they don't act well, and the movie is bad. So it's a teamwork. So that's what this project was. And then the second question is, what is the second question? I forgot. The audience. I mean, this is without doubt. The film has been shaped to appeal to a Chinese audience, 100%. And that also makes sense because, this is a popular movie. So when you do a co-production, you don't try to do something which works for both sides, because that also will not work, especially for comedies. The comedy is very local. So the film has been done to appeal to a Chinese general public. But then I'm happy to see last night people clapping and laughing. I heard people laughing, and that means that also, although it's a Chinese movie, let's say, but also can appeal to some Italian, also because we are living in an age where we watch Squid Game, we watch Giriaggi, we watch, it's especially the streamers are starting this melting, are encouraging even more this coming together of cultures, and then we're learning how to appreciate maybe Chinese makeup or, the Chinese face or actors or music, it's an age of, and I am one believer, although now there is a war, there is a lot of difficulties geopolitically, I still believe that down the line in the future, this process will continue, okay? And the last question, sorry, quickly. That was the last one. Okay.
Okay. So, any other question? Okay, we have just a couple of minutes, and then we'll have to.
Hello. Your film is. I see a lot of influences of Korean dramas and a rising K-wave of similar kind of dramas where there's a lot of romantic rich boy, poor girl kind of tropes. So I was wondering, what's this, since this is for Zuxin, in which she says that she has a sociological influence because of her background, and also from her musical, your musical background. How did it inform this film and make it different from these other dramas that are on streaming platforms, that are very popular?
Okay, I'm not really getting the Korean parts, but I think just my sociology background. Let's say this film, I think if it's like different than the other things because we add this reality show, the plot into it, and also for the fake kidnap, because when I think about this whole idea, I'm not trying to make fun of reality show, I just want to see that's a reality right now, because for a lot of Chinese artists and for a lot of no matter you're a singer or even though you're a director, this year China has this director reality show, I put the directors together to make a reality show. That's crazy. So later on I said, oh, there's a producer reality show, there's a journalist reality show. So that's what's going on right now. So I'm just thinking, I don't want to just simply make so-called only talking about love, from the beginning to end. I think that have to be adding some other things to make the plot interesting, So I just want to put, for me, I think no matter it's a romantic comedy or it's a very social directed film, I think it's very important to have what's going on right now to put into this film. If this film happened in 10 years ago, maybe it's not make sense, or I just think that's very important for me. I always keep in touch with right now situation. So I decided to put reality show, that thing into it. So I think that maybe is one of the unique things compared to other romantic comedy, And for me, of course, you want to see people fall in love, but at the same time, the plot is what I am focused on. I'm really interested into, and the fake kidnap thing. It's also, I think, want to put it extreme a little bit, to a kind of revealing in a interesting, in a funny, a little bit sarcastic way of how we are facing, the online life or something. So I think that's the most, for me, is different than the other so-called romantic comedy. Yeah.
And also with Zuxin, when we were thinking about the film in the beginning, for everybody who studies Chinese cinema now, one may realize that no matter what is the genre, if it's a comedy, romantic comedy, sci-fi, propaganda movie, whatever it is, there is always, the success of the movie is because it resonates something about society deep inside. So this reality show is one thing, but also if you think about it, it's about two people who are young people who are trying to pursue their dreams and their aspiration, which we think maybe right now in Chinese society is a very relevant theme, because the society is rising economically, and then a lot of young people are asking, okay, but who are we really? What we really need to do? We need to follow the family. We need to just look for money and wealth, or it's the time that we also can follow something that we really like Man does in the movie, the protagonist of the young girl. So I think this is very, very important. It's not a film, ultimately it's not necessarily about love. It's about pursuing your own dreams.
Okay, unfortunately we're running short of time. We really have to close it now. I'm so sorry but we can continue the discussion outside if you want, because unfortunately there is another panel coming soon in 2 minutes. So let's thank again all our guests: Cristiano BORTONE, HOU Zuxin, Santi PULVIRENTI, LIU Xun, ZHANG Fan, Maria. Sorry if you had other questions, Maria. I'm sorry. And okay, thank you all for coming. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.